HBCU game day here at the conclusion of the CIAA championship game between Winston-Salem State and Virginia State. I'm Tolly Carr and Stephen Gaither here. Stephen, this was a game 2 years in the making.
Right.
We all know the history from last year.
Right.
They didn't have the game.
Right.
And the biggest storyline happens this week. Virginia State has to go to a backup quarterback.
Right.
And so the question is, will he be deer in the headlights or would he step up? And this was a game where he pretty much stepped up.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at the end of the game, he was the difference. He came in. He said he was a little nervous at first, but they got the advantage early because they recovered a fumble from Winston-Salem State. So he was playing with a 7-0 cushion. He led the team down, and they got a score. So they were actually up 14-0. And Winston-Salem State really struggled to find their rhythm early in the first half. But as the game went on, Phil Sims led them down there for a touchdown, and so at the halftime, 14-7. So they got some momentum, and it was a wild fourth quarter.
If you go back to the first quarter, the Ram fans outnumbered the Virginia State fans. They had it packed in here, but Virginia State really took the momentum with an early turnover, return it for a score. And from that, like you just said, Winston never really seemed like they could get fully back on track. Right,
yeah. I mean, you just felt like from the beginning of the game, maybe that they were a little bit hungrier than Winston-Salem State. I mean, Winston-Salem State has had all the success in the last couple of years, and they've won all these games. But Virginia State, they didn't get there last year because of what happened. They got back here this year. The world was against them. Nobody picked them to win this game, really, that's outside of their own company. And they came out, they took the momentum, they took the energy, and they feasted on it.
The third quarter was really kind of curious because into the second quarter, Sims gets the touchdown. The Rams seemed to have the momentum back. But in the third quarter, it was just kind of flat on both teams. You had a couple of turnovers, and the Rams really maybe didn't seize control and momentum in the second half until it was a little too late.
Yeah, I think, what you had here was really two great defenses. It was a stalemate in the third quarter, and, they were kind of filling each other out. Like I said, Winston got on that run, but they, the time kind of got away from them. And, that fourth quarter, like I say, it was a treat. And both offenses were able to kind of do a little bit more. Both of them feasted off some turnovers, and, they were able to keep it, get us interested in the fourth quarter.
Penalties, a big thing, especially the last two games. Against Fayetteville State last week, penalties almost cost the Rams that game. This week, the Rams have their final series under a minute to go. It looks like they had picked up a big first down, but called back.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think, all year, penalties, from what I've seen, have been an issue for these guys. And at inopportune times, usually they have enough talent, to circumvent it. But I think they met a Virginia State team that, in addition to having talent, they had the will, and they took advantage of those mistakes. I don't really think that Virginia State made too many penalties at all. I think they were the more disciplined team. And like Coach Boer said, the most disciplined team is going to probably win. And it happened today.
So Virginia State with the win, 21-17. Next up is the NCAA playoffs. Virginia State solidly in, winning the CIAA championship. The Rams, do you think they make it?
I don't know. I mean, they've got the loss to Virginia State today, who's a conference champion, and then they had the loss of Adelphia State, who's a perennial power. So those are the two losses that they had. I think it's just going to come down to whether the committee likes them and, who won and who lost today. So I think they've got a 50-50 chance right now.
Well, that's it from the CIAA championship. Virginia State, the big winner today over Winston-Salem State, 21-17. Follow all HBCU sports at HBCUGameday.com.